What are you making?
We make scrambled eggs, but with mushrooms as well, just to make it a bit more filling.
That's butter.
And butter, yeah.
That's a lot of butter, isn't it?
Well, the mushrooms absorb it, and we also need it for the eggs a bit later.
Okay. So.
But I did put some olive oil first as well,
Okay.
because the butter will burn if I'm not careful.
Yes, that's true. Now, tell me about the monarchy and how it benefits the people of England.
Well, it's like an emotional focus for the British nation state. So if it turns out that Boris Johnson is corrupt, which he is, then it's not as emotionally traumatic for the British people because he's not the monarch. He's only the head of the government.
Okay. What is that you're adding?
Just black pepper.
Oh, black pepper.
Salt, black pepper.
Okay.
And since we don't have any, I forgot to get garlic yesterday. I'm just going to use a bit of garlic powder.
I thought you had some in the fridge, but...
Well, I think we have one.
One, okay.
I can't be bothered to cut it up anyway.
Yeah. Very good, okay. So, go ahead and continue. So, how is that different, for example, from the governing of the United States?
Well, there is no separate person who is the head of state. The president is both the head of state and the head of government. So both functions are combined in one person.
And how is that negative or positive?
Well, I don't know. I can't think of any positives at the moment.
Okay, well, what is the...
Potentially it can be negative, like it was during the Watergate crisis, for example, when Nixon had to resign. I mean, that was like a very, very emotional occasion for Americans, and I think that's because Nixon was the head of state as well as the head of government.
Can you give an example, like, for example, for England when Johnson, or I think you said that, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, Johnson basically, he attended a party at Downing Street during the COVID era when there were laws preventing people from having ordinary people from having parties, and people was getting fined just for taking their dog for a walk, if they'd been diagnosed with COVID, or people were fined for travelling, going to funerals, if they're trying to visit dying relatives, or, they were being fined and punished while he was having a party at Downing Street. The hypocrisy of it.
How does the British monarchy differ from, for example, let's say, since I am from Morocco, let's look at the Moroccan monarchy.
Well, you know more about that than I do, don't you?
Well, tell me about the British monarchy. Maybe I'll tell you about the Moroccan. So it's constitutional, isn't it?
Right. So it's a fiction really, but the idea is that His Majesty, the King or the Queen, is the ultimate power in the land, and it's simply that the Prime Minister, the party that wins the election, is governing on behalf of the King. That's the fiction. But of course the real power is with the Prime Minister and his ministers. But the fiction is that they're appointed by the King to do the governing on his behalf. So it's like a convenient little lie, if you like. Well, it's not a lie, it's like everyone knows But it's, I mean, it does have I guess the good thing is that it keeps a prime minister in his place, you know, because all these politicians, you know, they all have a lust for power and.
Yes, it's true.
You know, so
everywhere in the world, yeah.
Everywhere in the world. I mean, that's
Yes.
human nature, that power is addictive and corrupting. So I guess the hope is that the fact that, you know, you're appointed by the monarch, you know, is kind of a bit of a, helps to curb any megalomania. Yeah, it may succeed in that.
The other nice thing I find about the British, the British monarchy, just like the Japanese, for example, and some European